HOA Karen sent her so-called security team to my cabin. But she had no idea who she was messing with. She thought she could scare me with threats, rules, and that tiny badge her HOA security guys were just to feel important. But when they stepped onto my land, when they tried to boss me around, something inside me snapped. Because she didn't know about my cousins. She didn't know what happens when you push a quiet man too far. And when those engines started roaring down the road, everything changed. She ran. They ran. Everyone ran. And the reason why? Well, that's the part you're not gonna believe. Welcome back to HOA Nightmares. I'm glad you're here. Because this one is something else. My name is Mark. I live way out near a lake cabin. Far from the noise. Far from the neighbors. Far from everything. Or at least I thought. I fix bikes for a living. I mind my own business. I keep my place clean. And I never bother anyone. But somehow, HOAs still find a way to crawl into your life. If you hate HOAs, or if you ever wanted to stand up to one, hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, you're gonna want more stories like this. And hey, drop a BOOO HOA in the comments. Show them you're not scared of their little rulebook. Share this video with your friends. Especially the ones who've dealt with HOA madness. Alright? Let's start where it all began. I was sitting on my porch that morning. Minding my own business. Just drinking coffee. Watching the lake. Feeling the breeze. Peaceful. Quiet. The way I like it. Except that silence didn't last long. It started with a sound. A soft crunch. Tires on gravel. I didn't think much of it. Delivery trucks sometimes drive near the trail. But then I heard doors slam. 3. One after another. Sharp. Annoying. Uninvited. And I knew, without even looking, that this wasn't anyone I wanted to see. I stepped off the porch. And there they were. 2 men in black polo shirts that said HOA Security. And behind them, pink blazer. Big sunglasses. That signature angry walk. Karen. She wasn't even from my neighborhood. Not from my county. Not from my town. Her HOA was more than 2 miles away. But that never stopped her. She believed everywhere should follow her rules. One of the security guards raised his chin at me. Like he watched one too many cop shows. Sir. We've had multiple reports of unauthorized structures and illegal occupancy. I stared at him. Then at Karen. Then back at him. My cabin has been here longer than your entire HOA. Karen pushed forward. Hands on her hips. That doesn't matter. This land still falls under visual influence of our community. We can enforce environmental harmony rules. Visual influence. I almost laughed. This lady truly believed her authority spread like Wi-Fi. I leaned on one leg. Took a sip of coffee. All right. Show me your jurisdiction papers. She blinked. Then blinked again. Karen always hated when people asked for proof. Because she never had any. We don't need papers. We have community authority. No. You have attitude. The taller security guy stepped closer. Sir, please cooperate. Cooperate. That's what they say right before they trespass. I walked down a step. Slow. Calm. And pointed to the edge of my driveway. You see that line? Cross it without a warrant. And you're breaking actual law. Not your little HOA fantasies. Karen's mouth dropped open. Like a fish trying to argue. Excuse me. We can enter any property under dispute. This land isn't under dispute. You just don't like the color of my cabin. And that was true. She had sent letters before. Complaining that my cabin was too red. Too bright. Too unmatching. Too rustic. Too everything. I ignored her. And she snapped. Throughout this argument, one thing was bothering me. The security guys kept looking around. Walking circles. Taking pictures. Trying to look official. But I knew these weren't real officers. They were just bored HOA volunteers wearing tactical belts they bought on discount. Karen snapped her fingers. Take photos of the non-compliant structure. One of the guys raised his phone. And that's when I spoke. Louder. Firmer. Enough to make them stop. Put the phone down. You're trespassing. You're not allowed to document anything on my land. Karen scoffed. Oh please. You don't scare us. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. Because at that exact moment, I heard something. Faint. Far. A low rumble rolling across the water. A sound so deep it made the porch rail vibrate. Karen didn't notice. Her guards didn't notice. But I knew. I knew that sound anywhere. Motorcycles. A lot of them. And not just any motorcycles. Harleys. Heavy ones. Military tune ones. Ones that my cousins ride. Every year. They do a charity ride. Over 100 of them. All ex-army. All loud. All loyal. And I had texted my cousin Jake the night before. Telling him about HOA Karen harassing me again. He replied with one thing. We'll swing by. Karen kept ranting. Listing imaginary fines. Imaginary violations. Imaginary rules from imaginary authority. But behind her. Behind the trees. Behind the road. The rumble grew louder. Stronger. Closer. Until even the birds flew away. One of the security guards looked up. Confused. Do you hear that? Karen rolled her eyes. Probably some fisherman. Then the sound exploded. It wasn't one bike. Or 10. Or 50. It was the whole line. All of them. Stretching down the road. Chrome flashing. Engines roaring. Like thunder rolling on asphalt. Karen turned around. And the look on her face. God. I will never forget it. Her jaw fell open. Her sunglasses slipped. Her legs wobbled. What? What is that? My cousins. I said. In the calmest voice I could. The HOA guards froze. One stepped back. The other whispered a soft. Oh hell no. The bikes slowed. Lined the road. Rows and rows of riders. All staring down at the little HOA team like wolves looking at house cats. Karen made a squeak sound. Like she forgot how to breathe. One of the riders. Jake. Stopped in front. Took off his helmet. Grinned at me. You good cuz? I nodded. Yep. Just some people who don't belong here. Jake looked at Karen. Then at her guards. His voice went cold. Why are you harassing my family? Karen stumbled. We just wanted to. To enforce community order. Jake leaned forward on his bike. This isn't your community. And finally, Karen understood. The security guards didn't say goodbye. Or sorry. Or anything. They just sprinted to their SUV. Doors slamming. Wheels skidding. Dust everywhere. Karen ran after them. Heels sinking into the grass. Arms flapping. The SUV shot down the road. Past the wall of Harleys. While every rider stared in silence. I swear I have never seen a woman run so fast in her life. When she was gone. The bike shut off. And Jake walked up to me. Cuz. What the hell kind of HOA nonsense are you dealing with out here? I rubbed my face. Man. You don't want to know. But the truth was. That was only the beginning. Because HOA Karen. Didn't like losing. And she sure didn't like being embarrassed in front of 100 roaring motorcycles. What she did next. That's the part even I wasn't ready for. So tell me. If you were in my shoes. Would you have warned her? Or just let karma keep rolling? After the Harley engines faded into the distance. And the dust finally settled across the road. I thought maybe. Just maybe. Karen would leave me alone. But HOAs don't work like that. Karen definitely doesn't work like that. People like her. They don't move on. They plot. They stew. They hold grudges like they're holding their breath underwater. And they come back up ready to scream. The next morning. Before I even stepped outside. I smelled trouble. Not literally. Though honestly. Karen's perfume could be a weapon. But this time. It was a different kind of stink. The smell of official trouble. It started with a letter. One of those yellow envelopes with the black stamp. The kind that makes your stomach drop even before you open it. I found it shoved into my cabin door. Not in my mailbox. Not on my porch. Jammed right into the wood. Like whoever delivered it wanted me to feel violated. I pulled it out. Looked at the county logo. And just sighed. Here we go again. The letter said. In very dramatic government language. That my property was under investigation for potential code violations. And that county officials would be arriving for an inspection. A complaint had been filed. By someone claiming to be a representative of a neighboring housing authority. Housing authority. Karen's new fancy title for HOA queen. I laughed. Then I stopped laughing. Because this meant my day was about to get messy. The county doesn't mess around. They don't care about HOAs. But they care about official complaints. And Karen, that devil woman, had filed one so detailed. So exaggerated. So wildly fictional. That even the county office probably raised a brow. She claimed my cabin was an illegal build. A public hazard. Environmentally harmful. And structurally unsafe. She even said I was operating a motorcycle gang safe house. Motorcycle. Gang. Safe house. Lady. Please. My cousins were literally doing a charity ride. Not running a biker cartel. But the county doesn't know that. So yeah. I knew I was in for fun. I spent the morning pacing my porch. Waiting. Listening. Hoping they'd arrive. Check the place. And leave. But this is Karen we're talking about. She didn't just file the complaint. She planned the whole show. At exactly 10 a.m. I heard two vehicles rolling up my gravel path. One was a county inspection truck. A white pickup with official seals on both sides. And behind it. A familiar SUV. Black and white. With the words HOA Security slapped across the door. Karen was sitting inside. Head held high. Grin wide enough to swallow a fly. And sunglasses bright enough to fry an ant. She stepped out like she was stepping onto a movie set. County inspectors. Hello. I am the one who filed the urgent complaint. Urgent. Of course she had to say urgent. The county inspector. A tired-looking man with gray hair and a clipboard. Gave her one glance. And I swear. I saw him lose 5 years off his life instantly. He turned to me. You Mark Rivera? Yep. That's me. We received a complaint regarding the legality and safety of your structure. I nodded. Let me guess. She said it's collapsing. On fire. And possibly radioactive. The inspector cracked a small smile. Clearly wanting to laugh. But staying professional. Karen did not like that. She stepped forward. Loud. Dramatic. Talking with her hands like she was directing traffic. This cabin is a visual disturbance. It ruins the harmony of our community. It is a threat to neighborhood safety. And, she said this part like it was a national emergency. It attracts aggressive motorcycle elements. I stared at her. Aggressive. Motorcycle. Elements. Lady. You're dramatic enough to be your own hurricane. The inspector shook his head. Ma'am. This property is not listed under any HOA jurisdiction. Karen gasped. Like he had slapped her with his words. This entire area is under our influence zone. Influence zone. She really thought her authority spread like a Wi-Fi signal. The inspector turned to her. For now. Ma'am. HOA boundaries are legally defined. This cabin is outside them by nearly 2 miles. Karen blinked. Processing. Then rejecting reality. Like her brain refused to accept anything that didn't give her power. Well. We still have concerns. The inspector ignored her. Walked toward the cabin. And I followed. Karen marched behind us. Like a villain in heels. Clicking. Huffing. Dramatically gasping. Pointing at random trees. Pretending they were dying because of me. The inspector looked at my foundation. Solid. Measured the windows. Standard. Checked the roof. Clean. He walked around the back. Checked the lake drain. Perfect. Looked at property lines. Clear. Everything passed. Everything. Except one thing. The inspector pointed at my firewood stack. This needs to be moved at least 2 feet from the outer wall. I nodded. Okay. No problem. Karen jumped forward. Aha. A violation. A major violation. This cabin is unsafe. The inspector raised a hand. It's not unsafe. It's a standard fire code spacing requirement. Easily fixable. Karen froze. Like he just unplugged her entire soul. She tried again. There must be something else. Anything else. His structure is too red. Too rustic. Too loud. Ma'am. Color isn't a violation. His porch is uneven. No, it's not. His roof is aggressive. How can a roof be aggressive? Karen started sweating. Her voice cracked. Her hair frizzed. Her anger reached cartoon levels. The inspector snapped the clipboard shut. Inspection complete. No major issues. Property is compliant. Karen's eyes widened. No. No. That can't be right. I demand a reinspection. A reinvestigation. A real report. He stepped back. Calm. Done. Bored. Ma'am. You filed a false complaint. Again. Your HOA has been warned about this behavior. Karen turned red. Redder than my cabin. Her jaw trembled. Her hands shook. She pointed directly at me. You think you won. You think this is over. Not thinking. Just hoping. Karen stepped closer. So close I could smell the anger on her breath. I will not let this go. I don't care about your bikes. Your cousins. Or your stupid cabin. I will make sure the county comes back. The state comes back. The environmental board comes back. Everyone comes back. I will bury you in paperwork. Even the inspector looked alarmed. Lady. Calm down. He said. But Karen wasn't calming. She was cracking. Breaking. Melting down right in my driveway. She marched to her SUV. Slammed the door. Revved the engine like she was racing in a movie. And sped off. Dust everywhere. Silence afterward. Heavy. Thick. Uncomfortable. The inspector gave me a look. A mix of pity and warning. She's something. He said. Yeah. Something. He cleared his throat. If she files another false complaint, you can take legal action. He left. And I stood there. Hands on my hips. Breathing in the quiet again. Karen wasn't done. I knew that. She wasn't the type to lose gracefully. She was the type to lose. And come back twice as crazy. And she did. Faster than I expected. Because that night, while I was sitting on the porch, I saw headlights. Stopping. Not on my property. But near the tree line. Someone got out. Stood there. Staring. Watching. And when the moonlight hit her face, I felt my skin crawl. Karen was back. But what she did next, that's the part that pushed everything over the edge. So tell me, if someone like her kept coming after you, would you stay calm? Or would you finally snap? That night felt colder. Heavier. Like the air itself knew something was off. Karen standing at the tree line. Staring at my cabin like a villain in some low-budget thriller. Didn't help. I sat still on the porch. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched her through the shadows. She didn't blink. Didn't shift. Just stood there. Hands crossed. Body stiff. Eyes locked on me like she was memorizing my existence. Then, slowly, she lifted her phone. Pointed it at my cabin. And started recording. She whispered something into the mic. But the distance muffled it. Probably another complaint. Another lie. Another chapter in her personal war against my peace. I didn't get up. I didn't yell. I just leaned forward in my chair. Letting the porch light glow across my face. Showing her clearly that I saw her. She flinched. Only for a second. But I caught it. Then she backed up. Got into her SUV. And drove off. No headlights. Just engine noise fading into the trees. That's when I knew. Karen wasn't annoyed. Wasn't irritated. Wasn't just being her usual HOA self. She was obsessed. And obsession is dangerous. The next morning I woke up early. Sun just touching the lake. Birds waking up. Coffee boiling on the stove. Peace. Finally. For about 11 minutes. Because right as I took my first sip, I heard footsteps outside. Heavy boots. No hesitation. Walking with authority. I opened the door. And there they were. 2 county officers. Not cops. Not HOA. Actual county officials. Clipboards. Badges. Government jackets. The older one nodded. "Morning, Mark. We need to speak with you." I sighed. "Karen again." The younger one checked his notes. "We received a secondary complaint last night. This one." He hesitated. "Long enough to make me nervous. This one alleges severe environmental violations. Illegal water drainage. And unauthorized construction activity during nighttime hours." Nighttime hours. Lady literally stalked my cabin and called it construction. Unbelievable. I rubbed my face. "Okay. So what do you guys need to check?" The older inspector looked tired. "Honestly, we just need to confirm nothing changed since yesterday. False complaints waste our time. But we still have to respond." I walked them around the cabin. Everything exactly as it always was. Firewood stacked neatly. Drainage clear. Roof secured. No lights. No tools. No machinery. Nothing close to what Karen described. They checked everything. Took pictures. Measured the distance to the water. Documented every detail. 20 minutes later. The older inspector closed his folder. "All right. We're done." The younger one nodded. "Everything checks out." I crossed my arms. "So, what now?" They looked at each other. And the older one sighed. "We will have to file a notice against the complainant. Multiple false environmental reports is a chargeable offense in this county." A slow, dark satisfaction crawled into my chest. Karen messed with the wrong man. And the wrong paperwork. The younger inspector leaned closer. "Off the record. She called our office 3 more times this morning. Trying to escalate the case. 3 times. Before breakfast. This woman had too much free time and not enough therapy." They left. Driving away down the gravel path. And I felt a small wave of relief. Thinking maybe, just maybe, they'd finally shut her down. But peace doesn't live here. Not when Karen breathes the same air. Because around noon, I heard another engine. But this time, not the county. Not the HOA SUV. Not my cousin's. It was a shiny dark blue sedan. With gold lettering on the side. County Supervisor. Office of Land and Water Use. And behind the wheel, a man in a suit. A real suit. Not HOA cosplay. Not store-bought authority. Actual government weight. He stepped out. Adjusted his tie. And gave me a polite smile. "Sir. I'm here due to a high-priority citizen complaint filed late last night." High priority. Karen must have hit every urgent button she could find. I motioned him forward. "Let me guess. Environmental disaster." He exhaled. Almost embarrassed. "She claimed you rerouted lake water illegally. Built an unregistered sewer line. And may be contaminating the local watershed." I stared at him. Deadpan. "Sir. I can't even get my sink to drain fast. How am I running a secret sewer network?" He cracked a reluctant smile. "I understand. But we still have to take a look." We walked. Slow. Professional. Silent. The man checked every pipe. Every drain. Every corner. Every stone. He took samples. Took photos. Took notes. Kept shaking his head like he couldn't believe he was wasting his time on this. Finally. He stood. Dusted his hands. And closed his binder. "Sir. This complaint is completely fabricated. Not a single thing here is out of compliance." I nodded. Figured as much. He lowered his voice. "And between you and me, this Karen individual has filed complaints against 16 other citizens this year. Her HOA has been warned. But she keeps escalating. 16. 16 victims before me." The supervisor took a breath. Straightened his tie. And gave me a serious look. "You might want to consider filing a harassment claim. She's not going to stop on her own. People like her rarely do." He left. And silence filled the air again. I stood there alone. Looking at my cabin. My land. My quiet lake. Wondering how one woman could create this much chaos. I walked to the water. Let the cold breeze hit my face. trying to calm the storm building inside me. But then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It said, in all caps, like she was screaming through the screen, "This isn't over. You will comply. HOA order is law." I stared at it. Jaw tight. Heart steady. Karen wasn't just fighting. She was declaring war. And this part, this moment right here, is when I finally realized something. She wasn't playing anymore. Karen wanted full control. Full power. Full domination. Over something that didn't even belong to her. And people like that don't stop until someone stops them. But here's the thing. I was done being polite. Done being quiet. Done letting her do whatever she wanted. Because the next time she came after me, I wasn't going to sit back on the porch. I was going to do something about it. So tell me, if someone pushed you this far, would you wait for the next attack? Or would you hit back first? The next morning started strange and quiet. Too quiet. No sound of Karen yelling. No sound of HOA cars. No sound of anything except the wind brushing through the pines. I stepped outside with my coffee and looked at the long dirt road. Something felt off. Like the calm before a storm. And I was right. Around 9 a.m. I heard the rumble of gravel under heavy tires. A white county SUV rolled up and parked near my porch. Not one. Two. Three. 3 county vehicles. My chest tightened. What now? The doors opened and out came 3 officials. The same heavy-bearded inspector from before. A new woman with a clipboard. And a younger guy carrying a tablet. They looked serious. Not angry. But not friendly either. I whispered under my breath. "Karen. What did you do this time?" The main inspector nodded at me. "Morning. We have some new filings against your property. We need to check a few things again." I blinked. Again. We literally finished this 2 days ago. The inspector sighed like he already knew how ridiculous this was. Yes. But the HOA filed a more formal complaint with the county board. Because of the escalation. Their words, not mine. I rubbed my forehead. Let me guess. Karen wrote it. The new woman stepped forward. She had sharp eyes and a stiff professional posture. Actually, yes. She filed it personally. 3 complaints in one morning. I closed my eyes. 3. Of course she filed 3. What were they this time? The woman lifted the clipboard. Number 1. She claims your cabin is an illegal commercial business. Number 2. She claims you are running a motorcycle gang operation. Number 3. She claims your property is unsafe and a community hazard. I opened my eyes. A motorcycle gang. A hazard. Illegal business. All because some bikers visited me once. The younger official pulled up a photo on his tablet. Sir. She even submitted pictures. Very dramatic ones. I groaned. Let me guess. She sent that drone again. He nodded. Yes. But we can't accept drone footage taken over private land without consent. So it holds no legal weight. He showed me one anyway. It was a blurry zoomed-in shot of the bikers standing near my porch. Karen circled them in red and wrote, "Proof of criminal gathering." I almost laughed. They are Army veterans. Not criminals. The inspector raised a hand. Look. We know this is an HOA mess. We know none of this is real. But when someone files complaints at the county board level, we have to follow procedure. We cannot ignore it. I sighed. All right. What do you need to check? They walked around my property again. Looking at walls. Checking the porch. Inspecting the lake area. Taking pictures. It felt like a repeat of last time. Except this time I was more annoyed than scared. Half an hour later they gathered near my steps again. The woman flipped through her notes. So. Once again. Your cabin is in perfect legal condition. No violations. No hazards. Nothing commercial is happening here. You are legally fine. I nodded. Thank you. Can I file a complaint about Karen wasting everyone's time? The inspector actually chuckled. You can. And you should. This level of misuse of county channels is serious. Before I could say anything else, a loud white SUV screeched to a stop near the road. I didn't have to see the driver to know who it was. Karen. Of course. She stepped out wearing oversized sunglasses and holding a stack of papers like she was presenting evidence in a courtroom. She marched straight toward the county officials. Finally. You're here. I demand immediate removal of this structure. This man is a danger to our community. The woman with the clipboard raised a brow. Ma'am. We have already completed our inspection. Everything is compliant and legal. Karen froze. Like her brain could not process those words. Then she tried again louder. No. No, it isn't. You need to check again. Look. I have more proof. She shoved her papers toward them. Shaky dramatic screenshots. Zoomed photos. Paragraphs written in bold red markers. She even had a diagram of my property with arrows pointing everywhere. The inspector held up a hand. Ma'am. We cannot act based on personal feelings. There are no violations here. Karen's face twisted. Her voice turned shaky and high. You people don't understand. He is ruining our community. He brought motorcycles. He brought danger. He brought outsiders. She pointed at me with a shaking finger. This man does not belong here. This place was peaceful before he came. The words hit me harder than I expected. Not because I cared about her opinion, but because she truly believed it. She truly believed I was some invader who came to destroy her world. The younger official stepped forward. Ma'am. If you continue filing false claims, the county will open an investigation. Against you. Not him. Karen's jaw dropped. Me. You would investigate me. Do you know who I am? I am on the board. I make community decisions. The woman with the clipboard answered calmly. Exactly. Which is why misuse of authority is taken very seriously. Karen's face went white. For the first time. She looked scared. Not angry. Not dramatic. Actually scared. She spun toward me suddenly. This is your fault. You turned the county against me. You manipulated them. You're dangerous. I raised my hands. Karen. I literally did nothing. She didn't listen. She stormed back to her SUV, slamming the door, and sped away so fast she kicked dust all over the officials. The inspector brushed dust off his jacket. She's going to explode again. Just be prepared. The county team packed up and left, leaving me standing on my porch, feeling a strange mix of relief, confusion, and a chill in my stomach. Because something told me Karen wasn't done. Not even close. What do you think she's planning next? I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes I kept replaying Karen's face when the county warned her. That shock. That fear. That anger boiling under her skin. People like her didn't accept defeat. They didn't step back. They doubled down. And I knew. Something big was coming. By morning the cabin felt unusually tense. Like the air itself was waiting for trouble. Around 7 a.m. the first sign arrived. An envelope. Not mailed. Not delivered properly. Just taped to my door with ugly red tape. No stamp. No return address. No logo. I pulled it off and opened it. Inside was a document titled Community Protection Proposal. It was written by Karen. Of course. She had created some new HOA policy draft. I skimmed it and almost laughed. Then stopped laughing because it wasn't funny anymore. She was proposing new noise restrictions, new visitor restrictions, new temporary stay rules, new security check approvals, and a new policy banning military motorcycle groups. All clearly written to target me. Every single one. My hands tightened around the paper. This wasn't pettiness anymore. This was war. Before I could think further, I heard voices outside. Loud. Fast. Excited. I stepped onto the porch. 2 neighbors were standing near the trees. People I'd only talked to once or twice. They looked worried. They whispered to each other until one noticed me and waved me over. I walked toward them. What's going on? The older man spoke first. You didn't hear. There's an emergency HOA meeting tonight. Mandatory attendance. Called by Karen. The woman beside him nodded quickly. She's telling everyone it's about your property. She said you caused a county investigation on the board. And now she's pushing for drastic action. My stomach dropped. Of course. She was going public. She wanted the whole community on her side. The man lowered his voice. We don't trust her. A lot of us don't. But she scares people. She pressures people. She threatens fines. She controls votes. I sighed. Thanks for telling me. Are you going? He nodded. We have to. Everyone has to. But be careful. Tonight won't be friendly. I went back to my cabin and sat on the porch steps. The wind blew softly. The lake shimmered like nothing was wrong. But my mind was racing. Karen wasn't trying to win legally anymore. She was trying to win socially. Emotionally. Politically. She wanted to make me the villain. She wanted to scare everyone into supporting her. Around noon my phone buzzed. A message from my cousin Mark. Bro. We heard Karen called a meeting. Want us to roll in? I shook my head. No. Not yet. Let's see what she tries first. He replied. Call us if things blow up. We're close. I smiled. Those guys never failed to make me feel protected. Hours passed slowly. A long quiet build. The kind that made the smallest noise feel big. When the sun began sliding toward the treetops, I grabbed my jacket and started the walk toward the HOA hall. I expected a small crowd. Maybe 20 people. But when I arrived, at least 80 residents were there. The parking lot was packed. People stood outside the door talking nervously. And there she was. Karen. Standing at the entrance like a queen guarding her castle. Hair perfect. Clipboard in hand. Fake calm smile. The moment she saw me her smile froze. Then tightened. She stepped forward. Ah. You made it. Good. We have a lot to discuss. The safety of our community is at stake. I met her eyes. Karen. What are you trying to do? She leaned in. Voice low. Firm. You embarrassed me. You got the county to threaten me. And you think I'll let that go? I didn't get anyone to do anything. She ignored me completely. You will learn that people like you don't get to win here. Before I could answer, she turned and walked inside. Her heels clacking like a judge entering court. The meeting room was full. Every seat taken. People standing along the walls. Some whispering. Some staring at me. Some looking unsure. Karen walked to the front. Took her place behind a wooden podium. And tapped the microphone. Good evening. We have a very serious issue to address tonight. Her voice echoed through the hall. Calm. Dramatic. Performative. She held up a stack of papers. This community is in danger. Rules are being ignored. Safety is being threatened. And outsiders are bringing chaos. A murmur spread across the room. She continued. Over the last week this property owner has attracted loud motorcycle groups. Called in the county unnecessarily. And disrupted the harmony we have built for years. She pointed subtly in my direction. Not aggressive enough to look obvious. But enough for people to know. Whispers grew louder. Then she said the line that twisted my stomach. Tonight. We vote on whether he should be removed from this community. Removed. She wanted me gone. The room erupted. Some shocked. Some confused. Some nodding. Some shaking their heads. I stood slowly. Voice steady. I didn't break any rules. The county cleared me twice. I didn't endanger anyone. Karen cut me off. Then why did they call me? Why did they investigate me? Why did they warn me? Because of you. I raised my voice slightly. Karen. They warned you because you lied on official documents. Gasps echoed. Even some of Karen's supporters looked startled. Her eyes sharpened. Her lips tightened. She wasn't expecting me to say that publicly. She slammed her hand on the podium. Enough. This meeting will proceed as planned. But then something unexpected happened. A man from the back stood. Tall. Bearded. Confident. I recognized him. Former Marine. One of the neighbors who kept to himself. He pointed at Karen. You don't speak for us. This community isn't your kingdom. And you don't get to exile people because you don't like them. People murmured. Karen's face went pale. Another woman stood. Karen. You've gone too far. We heard what you did. More voices. More pushback. The room was turning. The power slipping from her hands. Her control cracking. Karen looked around. Eyes wide. Panic rising. Then she screamed. Everyone needs to stop listening to him. He is dangerous. He brings bikers. He brings chaos. He brings trouble. Her voice shook. Her confidence gone. And then she said something she couldn't take back. If you don't vote him out, then I will make sure none of you feel safe. The hall went silent. Dead silent. Every person heard the threat. Clear. Sharp. Real. Karen covered her mouth, realizing too late what she had said. And that's when I realized. Tonight was not the end. This was only the beginning. Because Karen had officially crossed a line. One she could never walk back from. So, what do you think she's going to do next when she realizes the whole community is slipping out of her control? The silence in that HOA hall felt heavier than anything I'd ever heard. You could almost feel it pushing against your skin. Karen stood frozen at the podium, her hands still covering her mouth. Her eyes wide like she finally realized she had said the one thing she could never fix. Threatening the entire community. In public. In front of 80 witnesses. Even her closest supporters slowly leaned back from her. Like her meltdown might be contagious. The Marine guy from the back spoke again. Clear. Calm. Cold. Did you just threaten us? All of us. Karen lowered her hand. Her voice cracked. No. I didn't. You misheard. I meant something else. But nobody believed her. You could feel the shift. Power draining out of her. Confidence bleeding away. The HOA treasurer stood up. A short man with glasses who usually avoided conflict. He spoke softly. Karen. This is serious. You can't say things like that. We can't support you if you're making threats. Her head snapped toward him. Eyes sharp again. You're turning on me too. You. After everything I've done for you. He looked down and shook his head. You didn't do it for us. You did it for control. Whispers spread through the crowd like fire. Half the room nodding. Half just stunned. Karen gripped the edge of the podium. Her knuckles white. You're all blind. I'm the only one keeping this community safe. I'm the only one stopping people like him. She pointed at me. Her voice shaking. He is the danger. Not me. A woman near the front stood. I'd seen her before. Quiet. Keeps to herself. She crossed her arms. Karen. He hasn't harmed anyone. You're the one creating chaos. You're the one calling fake security. You're the one sending threats. Karen spun toward her. That isn't true. It isn't. He's making you all believe things. He's turning you against me. I stepped forward. Hands open. Voice steady. Karen. Nobody is turning anyone. People are just seeing what's really happening. You pushed too far. She glared at me. Pure hatred simmering in her eyes. Her voice dropped. Dangerously low. You ruined everything. The room tensed. Even I could feel the shift. Her anger wasn't loud anymore. It was cold. Focused. And that was worse. The HOA vice president finally spoke. A man who usually bowed to Karen on every decision. Tonight. He looked tired. Done. Karen. He said. We can't continue this meeting. This isn't healthy. This isn't productive. We need to postpone voting and review your conduct. Karen laughed. A strange, sharp, broken sound. Postpone. Review. She mocked the words. You people are unbelievable. I've given years of my life to keep this neighborhood perfect. And now, because of him, you're all turning on me. I sighed. Karen. Stop blaming me. You did this. Her face twisted. She looked like she wanted to scream again. But instead, she grabbed the edge of the podium and shoved it so hard it scraped across the floor. Everyone jumped. Even I took a step back. Karen's breathing was loud. Fast. Almost panicked. Then, without warning, she stormed off the stage. Her heels hammering the floor. She pushed through the crowd, shoving past anyone in her way. Someone tried to speak to her. She snapped. Get out of my way. The double doors slammed behind her. Hard. The entire hall sat in stunned silence. The vice president exhaled. Long and tired. Meeting dismissed. We'll reconvene when things calm down. People slowly stood. talking in small confused groups, shaking their heads, whispering about what they just witnessed. I walked outside into the cool night. The air felt different, like the whole community had inhaled and didn't know how to exhale again. For a moment, I thought that maybe, just maybe, Karen would calm down, take a breath, disappear for a few days. But deep down, I already knew better. People like her don't break quietly. They explode. And then they rebuild. Even worse than before. As I stepped into the parking lot, I heard footsteps behind me. The Marine neighbor approached. Hands in his pockets. Voice steady. "You handled that well." Most people would have snapped back at her. I shrugged. "Trust me." I wanted to. He smiled slightly. "Karen's losing control. That makes her dangerous. Be careful." I nodded. "Thanks." He walked off. And I headed back down the dark trail toward my cabin. The woods were quiet. Too quiet. Even the crickets felt muted. My mind replayed the scene over and over. The threat. The meltdown. The way she looked at me. That last look was the one that stuck. Because it wasn't the look of someone defeated. It was the look of someone who believed she had been betrayed. Cornered. Humiliated. And people like her, when they felt that, they didn't retreat. They retaliated. When I reached my cabin, a strange feeling crawled up my spine. The front porch light flickered. Just once. Then steadied. I walked slowly to the steps. Looking around. Everything seemed normal. Quiet. Still. But then I saw it. A fresh footprint in the dirt near the porch. Small. Clean. Definitely Karen's style of shoe. My jaw tightened. She came here. During the meeting. Or right after. Watching. Waiting. Planning something. Inside the cabin. I checked the windows. Locked. Doors. Locked. But that didn't bring comfort. Because the real danger wasn't outside. It was what she was about to do next. That night, I barely slept. Every sound in the woods made me sit up. Every crack. Every rustle. Every shifting branch. Because once a person like Karen hits breaking point, they stop following rules. They stop pretending. They stop hiding behind meetings and paperwork. They start doing things. Quiet things. Desperate things. Dangerous things. And I knew. Almost painfully clearly. She wasn't done with me. Not even close. So tell me. If someone like Karen loses her power in public, what do you think she'll do in the dark where nobody's watching? I woke up the next morning with a tight feeling in my chest. The kind that told me something was coming. Something big. Something ugly. The world outside my window looked normal. Calm lake. Soft morning light. Birds hopping around like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. Karen wasn't just angry now. She was unstable. And unstable people are unpredictable. Unpredictable people are dangerous. I made coffee. Sat on the porch with the mug in my hands. Trying to shake off the tension. Then my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "You think you won. But you haven't. Not yet." No signature. No name. But I knew. Immediately. It was her. My stomach tightened. The message felt colder than anything she had said in the meeting. Short. Simple. Vengeful. Before I could reply, I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. I stood. Ready for anything. Ready for trouble. But when I stepped out, it wasn't Karen. It was the county inspector. The same guy who had cleared my property. He climbed out of the truck with a heavy sigh. "Morning. We need to talk." My stomach sank. "What now?" He walked up. Hands on his belt. Face serious. "We got another complaint." I closed my eyes for a second. "Let me guess. Karen." He nodded. "Yeah. And this one is intense." I rubbed my forehead. "Of course it is." He handed me a paper. A formal complaint. Multiple pages. Detailed. Aggressive. The accusations were insane. She wrote that I Ran an illegal business from the cabin. Housed dangerous people. Operated unlicensed vehicles. Stored weapons. Violated noise and safety codes. None of it true. Not even close. But the worst part. At the bottom. She claimed. Community members fear for their lives because of me. I looked up. This is ridiculous. He nodded. Oh, it is. We don't believe it. But we have to follow procedure. We have to check everything again. I exhaled slowly. Fine. Go ahead. Do whatever you need. So he inspected the cabin. Again. Checked the garage. Again. Walked the property. Again. After an hour. He returned to the porch. Everything's clean. Just like last time. I'll file this as a false report. He hesitated. But his face still looked troubled. What? I asked. Tell me. He scratched his jaw. Honestly. It's not the complaint. It's her. She was waiting outside our office at 7 a.m. Pacing. Talking fast. Red eyes. Hands shaking. I think she's snapped. I think she's past reason. A chill moved through me. He stepped closer. Be careful. She's not done. After he left, I sat on the porch again. But this time, I couldn't relax. Not even a little. Because whenever Karen reached the point where logic died, she didn't get quiet. She got creative. And that scared me more than anything. Hours passed. Long. Slow. Uneasy. Around sunset, I finally heard something that made my blood run cold. A car engine. Slow. Creeping. Stopping near the trees. I stepped off the porch. Carefully. Quietly. Karen's car. Parked halfway off the road. Like she didn't want anyone to see it. I scanned the area. Looking for her. Listening for her. Nothing. Silence. Just the wind moving through the branches. Then, I spotted movement behind a pine tree. A shadow. Small. Hunched. Watching. My jaw clenched. She was spying again. Trying to gather evidence. Trying to set something up. But this time, I wasn't alone. A loud rumble in the distance. Then another. Then another. I didn't even have to look. I knew that sound. Harley's. My cousin's. The thunder grew louder. Vibrating through the ground. Filling the whole forest. Shaking the quiet. Karen's shadow jerked. She turned. Panicked. Realizing what was coming. 3 bikes rolled in. Headlights cutting through the trees. Mark in front. Jake and Roman behind him. They stopped at the edge of my driveway. Engines idling. Deep. Heavy. Intimidating. Mark pulled off his helmet. Spotted the shape behind the tree. And his face hardened. Karen. We know you're there. Come out. She froze. Like a wild animal caught in headlights. Then slowly. Very slowly. She stepped out. Her eyes huge. Her hair messy. Her expression a mix of fear and fury. Mark crossed his arms. You need to leave this property. Now. She shook her head. Voice trembling. You don't understand. He's dangerous. He's corrupting this community. He's trying to take everything from me. I stepped closer. Karen. Nobody is taking anything from you. You're losing because you're lying. You're losing because you're threatening people. She stomped her foot. I am not losing. I am keeping order. Jake stepped closer. His voice low. Calm. Firm. Lady. You need help. Not control. Not power. Help. She backed up. Eyes darting. Like she might run. Or scream. Or lunge. Then she pointed a shaking finger at me. This isn't over. You ruined my reputation. My authority. My community. I kept my voice steady. You ruined those yourself. Her face twisted. She turned away. Stormed toward her car. Got in. And peeled off so fast gravel sprayed behind her. The woods went quiet again. Mark exhaled. That woman is one meltdown away from setting the forest on fire. I nodded. Yeah. And something tells me she isn't done. He looked at me. Concern on his face. We're staying a few days. Just to keep watch. And honestly, I was relieved. The first real relief I'd felt all week. Night settled. Cold. Still. But I knew. This was the real ending. Not explosions. Not fights. Not chaos. Just the truth. Karen couldn't destroy me. And she couldn't control the community anymore. But she also wasn't built to accept defeat. So now, she had to live with it. Every day. Every time she opened her door. Every time someone looked at her like they knew. And that, for someone like her, was the worst punishment imaginable. I sat on the porch. Breathing finally steady. Watching the lake glow under the moon. The battle was over. But the story, the lesson, was still fresh. Some HOAs destroy communities. Some HOA leaders destroy themselves. And sometimes, all it takes to stop them is standing your ground. So tell me, if you were in my place, would you forgive someone like Karen? Or would you let karma finish the job yourself?